The last time you kissed someone, you didn't think about it. Your lips already knew what to do. It felt like the most natural thing in the world, something ancient and wordless and built into the body. But the real answer is far stranger. Kissing is not as old as you assume. It is not universal. And for most of human history, a large part of our species never did it at all. Picture it. Two faces moving closer, eyes closing on their own. A gesture so familiar that you have never once questioned where it came from. You assume it is instinct, the way breathing is instinct, the way a newborn grips a finger. But instinct leaves fingerprints across every culture on Earth. And kissing does not. In 2015, an anthropologist named William Jankowiak decided to actually check. He and his colleagues examined 168 cultures from around the world, looking for one specific thing: the romantic sexual kiss. Lips meeting lips, on purpose, for affection or desire. They expected to find it everywhere. They didn't. Romantic kissing showed up in fewer than half of the cultures studied. In many societies, pressing your mouth against another person's mouth was not romantic at all. It was strange. Sometimes it was disgusting. Some groups found the idea of swapping saliva genuinely revolting, the way you might recoil at licking a stranger's hand. So the thing you think of as the most human gesture imaginable was, for huge stretches of our species, completely foreign. How is that possible? To answer that, you have to go back, not centuries, thousands of years. And here the story gets older than almost anyone realized. For a long time, scholars believed the romantic kiss was a fairly recent invention. The anthropologist Von Bryant traced its earliest clear record to ancient India, to sacred Sanskrit texts written around 1500 BCE. In those verses, lovers are described pressing mouth to mouth, breathing each other in. Bryant suggested the practice then spread outward, carried west by the armies of Alexander the Great around 326 BCE, drifting across the ancient world like a rumor that became a habit. It was a neat story, a single origin point. A gesture invented in one place and exported to the rest of us. Then, in 2023, two researchers from the University of Copenhagen and Oxford pushed the timeline back even further. Troels Pank Arbol and Sophus Helle went digging through something most people never think about. Clay tablets, ancient Mesopotamian writing, pressed into wet clay and baked hard 4,500 years ago. And there it was. Descriptions of kissing. Married couples kissing. Lovers stealing kisses they weren't supposed to. Kissing as part of desire, part of romance, part of ordinary human life. All of it recorded around 2500 BCE in the cities between the Tigris and the Euphrates. So the kiss was not invented in India and shipped abroad. It was already there in Mesopotamia, 1,000 years before those Sanskrit verses. It was not a single spark. It was a behavior that had quietly existed across multiple ancient societies at the same time. Which raises a harder question. If people were kissing in clay tablet cities long before anyone wrote love poems about it, where did the kiss itself actually begin? For that, you have to leave human history entirely. You have to look at the animals you came from. Watch a chimpanzee troop after a fight. Two males who were screaming and beating the ground moments earlier will sometimes approach each other, press their mouths together, and make peace. Bonobos, your other closest relatives, do something even more striking. They kiss often, openly, with tongue, as part of bonding and reconciliation, and play. Your closest living cousins kiss. That is not a coincidence. That is a clue. In 2024, an evolutionary scientist named Adriano Lamera at the University of Warwick proposed something unexpected about where the gesture comes from. He looked at how great apes groom each other. You have seen it. One ape carefully parts the fur of another, picking through it, searching for dirt and parasites. And at the very end of that grooming, there is a final move. The groomer purses the lips, leans in, and uses the mouth to remove the last bit of debris. A small, focused, lip-first gesture held against the skin of another. Lamera's idea is that the kiss is the leftover of that final motion. Strip away the grooming. Strip away the parasites in the fur. What remains is the gesture by itself. Pursed lips, pressed gently against someone you trust. The last echo of an act of care that is older than your whole species. If he is right, then every kiss you have ever given is the ghost of grooming. A behavior that once meant I will tend to you, surviving long after the fur disappeared. But there is another origin story, and it lives even closer to home. It is sitting in a high chair somewhere right now, refusing to eat. For most of human history, there was no way to puree food for an infant. No blenders, no soft jars of baby food. So mothers across countless cultures did something you would find shocking today. They chewed the food themselves, softened it in their own mouths, and then passed it, mouth to mouth, directly to their child. It is called kiss feeding, and some researchers believe this is where the gesture was truly born. Long before romance, the press of lips on lips meant something far more primal. It meant nourishment. It meant survival. It meant you will not starve while I am here. Think about that the next time you lean in toward someone. The very same motion that now signals desire may have started as a mother keeping a baby alive. So why did kissing become romantic at all? Here the science gets unexpectedly precise. Researchers Raphael Wlodarski and Robin Dunbar at Oxford studied what the romantic kiss actually does for you, and their answer is not poetic. It is biological. When your face is that close to another person's, you are gathering information you are not even aware of. Their scent, the chemistry on their skin. Tiny signals about their health, their immune system, their compatibility with you. A first kiss in their research often works less like a celebration and more like a test. A final, intimate quality check before your body decides whether to go further. And it doesn't stop there. Kissing inside a long relationship does a different job entirely. It is not assessment anymore. It is maintenance. A quiet, repeated signal that says, I am still choosing you, delivered in a language older than any words you could use to say it. So the gesture you thought was simple turns out to be doing several jobs at once. Testing, bonding, reassuring. Reaching back through grooming and kiss feeding and 4,000 years of clay tablets, all compressed into a single moment you barely think about. But remember Jankowiak. Remember that fewer than half the world's cultures ever made this gesture romantic at all. That is the strangest part of the whole story. Kissing is not a universal human instinct that everyone discovered. It is more like a tool that some societies picked up and others never needed. Plenty of cultures expressed love and desire in completely different ways. Pressing noses, sniffing, sharing breath, touch that had nothing to do with the mouth, which means the thing you experience as the most natural expression of love on earth is, in a sense, a habit, a learned one, a regional accent of affection that happened to spread far and wide but never reached everyone and was never inevitable. So when did ancient humans start kissing? The honest answer is that there is no single moment, no first kiss. There is a slow braid of behaviors twisting together across millions of years. The grooming of apes, the feeding of infants, the reconciliations of chimps, the clay tablet lovers of Mesopotamia, the Sanskrit verses of India. A dozen quiet beginnings, none of them romantic at first, all of them eventually folded into one gesture you now perform without a second thought. The kiss was never a single invention. It was a slow inheritance. And you are the one carrying it now. So the next time you kiss someone, notice the strangeness underneath the familiarity. Your lips are not following instinct. They are following history. A mother feeding her child, an ape tending its troop, a scribe pressing a love story into wet clay before it could harden. The last time you kissed someone, you didn't think about it. But your lips remembered something your mind had forgotten. They remembered every hand and mouth that ever leaned in before yours across every age of being human, just to say the oldest thing there is. You are not alone. I am still here,